They don't need windows because they're using crystal dome technology. This all means that if you're driving these cars, you view the outside through a screen that wraps around you. Hey guys, Dagix here, back with some more juicy Cyberpunk 2077 news. It's been over a week since I last chatted to you, and frankly the information has been dry, but recently the official PlayStation magazine dropped and it contained a ton of fresh info, including guns you throw away, more on smart weapons, guns that can't be fired without cyber arms, more on cyberware, vehicle variety, overpowered cars, and more. But first, let's take a look at the Budget Arms Slaughtermatic, a gun that reminds me of the TDO manufacturer from Borderlands 3. This is what the devs consider the result of consumer culture being taken to the extreme. The fact of life in Night City is that it's extremely common to be mugged on your way home from work or have your apartment broken into. It's a violent and dangerous time and place, frankly, to live. This is American gun culture gone crazy. Everybody has a weapon. The world supports this too, and firearms are as common as pre-packaged sandwiches or disposable razors and even chocolate bars in vending machines. Enter Budget Arms. This weapon manufacturer mass produces the cheapest firearms they can, like the Slaughtermatic. It's, in the words of the developers, a really crap gun. It's bright pink but comes in other colors. It pops out of a branded vending machine and is disposable. Once you buy the gun, you empty the magazine and you can't reload it. You just throw it away and buy a new one because it costs almost nothing. The lore idea is that you pick one up on your shop and use it to defend your house over the weekend. Then buy another next time you're out. Budget Arms advertises to the whole family. We see here a family with a dad, a pregnant wife, 2 kids, and a grandpa, all armed with Budget Arms. In the game, you'll see ads for the Slaughtermatic around, then you can pick one up at a vending machine, which adds to the world building and immersion. So let's go from cheap and nasty to high tech and expensive. The guns you see here are examples of the high-end weapons you can find. Arasaka are extremely expensive and offer big advantages. You can see the smart rounds here, which are mini-guided explosive rockets. It's implied that the smart gun is the pistol next to it, but we can't be sure. We've seen smart weapons in action before. They fire tiny self-propelled projectiles that track their target. In some cases, you'll need special cyberware and skills to use them effectively. Smart weapons have a targeting computer that links up to the optics in your cyber eyes. So if you specialize in using these kinds of weapons and can afford the hardware and ammunition, your gunplay prowess will skyrocket. Pun not intended. The developers say that once you lock onto your target, every bullet will go towards them. Expect Arasaka security to have the best weapons. Another class of gun are Borg weapons. An example was shown to the PlayStation magazine team and was a massive chunky shotgun. Borg weapons are a class that's designed to highlight one of the themes that they have, which is cybernetically enhanced people. The nod to Star Trek Borg is even more obvious. So why not have guns that are ultra powerful and that can only be fired by someone that has metal arms? Apparently there are a lot of guns in the game that, if you're underclassed, underleveled, or not equipped for the job, will actually throw you to the floor when you fire them. This is a true RPG after all, and very much supports RPG progression. I'm excited for the sheer diversity of weapons we're getting in Cyberpunk. Do you bring what looks like a pink power drill into a fight because you spent all your cash on cyberware and cars? Or do you go all out and get an Arasaka smart weapon and skimp on the supplies, or something in between? I personally like the sound of Borg weapons, as the shotguns we've already seen satisfyingly blow limbs off enemies, and I can only imagine what a more powerful version will do. Would I need the gorilla arms to carry these, or something different? Moving along, let's take a quick look at fashion in Cyberpunk 2077. There's a big dress to kill culture in 77, but not everyone is a runway model. Many residents are more interested in function, as you see in the bottom left. The wealthy show their wealth, and wealthy areas have less poor people and less gang members. It's what you expect. If you want to read more about fashion in Cyberpunk, give this video a pause. I'm not sure that if you're going for looks rather than status, you would ever turn yourself into an android like the woman on the right of this page. I don't think humans will ever find that attractive. And to any future robot overlords watching this video, I was just kidding, you're all super attractive, don't kill me. In the world of cyberpunk, guns may be sold at vending machines, but life-enhancing prosthetics and cyberware are just as common. Ben Andrews says, in order to get a job in this really harsh world, you'll have to work for a corporation, and corporations kind of force you to take the cyberware. Maybe they're subsidizing it to you, and the corporation is kind of owning you in a way. As you move through time and technology improves, it becomes a sort of status symbol. So, the all-metal woman I ragged on before is all about the status. There are people who have the money to have a real skin-covered cyberware, gangs who flaunt and style their enhancements, robo-sized military who are more mechanical than flesh, and those who are just trying to get by. Rupert docs are a symptom of the need to enhance, as they're everywhere and it's just as easy to get work done to your body as it is to get a tattoo in our world. They're talking to you about football while you're getting your hand replaced. It's casual, very casual. Interesting to note is that the Mantis blades are where the team began modernizing the cyberware mentioned in the Cyberpunk RPG. Players needed to feel a layer of authenticity and believability with the cyberware, but in the end, they aren't making a simulation, they're making a game. Next, we have a section on character design. It's an interesting read and goes over how they wanted the clothes to look like they weren't made in the traditional way. That they were 3D printed, so to speak, but it was problematic as they looked like just badly made 3D models lacking detail. Like you expect a button to be there, not just a magnetic strip that makes it invisible. In that way, it was hard to make interesting character designs in Cyberpunk 2077. You have a bigger spectrum of options for clothes than you did in The Witcher 3, but the eye expects people to be wearing regular clothes. If you want to read more, be sure to pause the video. Moving forward, let's talk all about the rides of Cyberpunk 2077. The majority of cars are based on 80s and 90s designs, like the Lamborghini Countach, the D Tommaso Pantera, or the Alfa Romeo Carrabbo. When designing the vehicles, they had a table of poverty in which they plotted how many poor cars they needed to do, how many high-end cars, and so on, which is loosely based on the real world. However, class divide is more extreme in Cyberpunk 2077, and that's reflected in the decadence of the cars you have available. Once the base models were completed, the team created alternate versions for those cars and manufacturers. However, super expensive cars only have different colors because they're, well, super expensive. You won't find any rusted out versions of the luxury Rayfield Erendite, the car you try to jack in the Street Kid opening. You'll be able to find factory versions, sporty versions, and even what the team call junk set versions, which are aged and retrofitted with tech like solar panels. These can sport things like bigger tires or different windshields that affect how they handle, so there will be a lot to drive or steal if you have high enough stats. Yes, you can steal cars, but it's based on your stats. It's assumed tech stats, but at this point it's not confirmed. During the team's research, they found that there was absolutely no reason to put 6 wheels on a car, but since it's all about style over substance with some brands, why not? We also talked about different variety of cars. Well, it turns out that there are 29 base models of cars in the game, and from those, many varieties. The Nomads built sturdier, customized versions for surviving in the outskirts. Nomads buy a really good, reliable car and they invest a lot of money into making it super overpowered. They're replacing the engine and adding more. The devs say it's like the owner of a Subaru Impreza making an early version on his own. So that's what Nomads do. They're tossing equipment in an already existing car. These aren't reskins in the game, the modifications affect how they drive. They're putting anti-mine detector systems in, they're putting a top bumper, they drive on infrared so don't need lighting, they don't need windows because they're using crystal dome technology. This all means that if you're driving these cars, you view the outside through a screen that wraps around you. Basically an LCD screen with armor outside. So when you get into the car, you shut the door, it's completely dark in there, and after a bit, the lights light up. There's this cool effect of disappearing meshes. There's a noise as the LED boots up, glitches happening on the screen. The devs seem to really like how it looks. This tech also features in high-end cars because their owners care about protection, so they drive around in sporty armored tanks. so we can't directly customize cars ourselves, but there's seemingly a lot of variety in the world and a lot of variety in the tech those cars can have. Mine detectors, does that mean there will be mines on the road that we need to avoid? Nomad cars give me a real Mad Max feel, and we can see the Quadra version in the bottom right. I have a feeling the best Nomad vehicles will be locked behind some kind of Nomad life path related thing, so it's tempting me to start down that path. But what do you think? Has this information got you more or less excited for the game? Will you be rocking a super expensive car and a pink budget arms weapon? Love to hear more below. Don't forget my competition to win yourself a copy of Cyberpunk is still ongoing. Like always, drop me a like and a sub if you want to stay tuned, as I'll be bringing you tons more Cyberpunk 2077 news as it comes. See you later, friends.